Hey guys, Brooke Walker here, and finally we have the Post-Olympia wrap-up. You know, it's been a few weeks since Olympia. The Olympia, if you had watched or you've been following along, you're well aware that I finished third place at the Olympia, so this is my second consecutive year finishing at that third place spot, which is, you know, it's not first, but I definitely wanted to remain in that top 5. My primary goal was to win, secondary was to stay in third, and then, you know, I absolutely wanted to remain in that top 5. So the fact that I was able to stay in that third place spot was huge for me. Very, very grateful I can carry the title third in the world for another year. But you know what? Here's the thing, the Olympia this year is gonna be right around the corner, and I only have really about 6 months of an off season before I begin prep for the 2023 Olympia, which is unreal to even say. Luckily, finishing in that third place spot, that requalifies me for this year's Olympia, and you know what? The feedback from the judges was kind of similar to what it was in years past, is to bring a little bit more muscle from behind, come in a little bit tighter, harder, wider up top, and that's basically what we're gonna do. As soon as we got off the stage from the Olympia, Matt Berzicott, you know, my amazing coach, he came up with a game plan, and we are going to execute that and make sure that this year I bring my absolute best. So 2 back days, 2 leg days, and then, you know, nice chest, shoulder, tricep days in the mix. I'm looking forward to this year. The only thing that I absolutely dreaded from the Olympia is, you know, these Olympia weekends are just, they're amazing. They're so much fun. You are in a community of like-minded individuals, and just the energy is unreal. Unfortunately, those weekends just fly by, and I hate that. You are prepping for 16 or 20 weeks, and you're dieted down, and cardio's high, and you go through those really high, great days and really, really low days. That prep seems like it goes forever. And then the Olympia comes, and those weekends just fly by. So it truthfully feels like yesterday I was there in Vegas, living my best life, and I'm feeling on top of the world. And now, unfortunately, I'm not there anymore. That physique that I brought to the Olympia was my absolute best package. I had the best prep of my entire life from a health standpoint. My body was super, super responsive. I gained muscle in all the right areas. Still need some improvements, obviously, but things were great. I was very, very happy with my overall presentation, hair, makeup, tan, suit, all of it. Posing was, you know, good, but could be better. But, you know, in that sense, there's always highs when it comes to a contest prep, and there's lows when it comes to a contest prep as well. So health standpoint, phenomenal. Body was responsive. I couldn't be more pleased with the outcome. From an emotional standpoint and mental standpoint, it was probably my toughest prep of all time. So, you know, I don't always go into depth with you guys on things that are kind of going on in my life, but I think it will be good to kind of touch on these, you know, just for anybody that's going through similar circumstances, whether it's just, you know, just your life, or maybe you are prepping for a show, maybe you're amateur prepping for your first show, or maybe you're the best in the world prepping for the Olympia. You know, life is a roller coaster, and there's tons of really great high moments, but really, really terrible low moments as well. So here's what went down, right? In June, my stepdad was put into the hospital, and you know, it wasn't good. I'll just be honest. In September was the last time I actually saw him alive. And at that point, his diagnosis was he just had a kind of a mixture of things. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, he's type 1 diabetic, and lung cancer, unfortunately. He's a fighter, and he's stubborn, and he gave it everything he had. But while I was in Florida prepping for the Olympia, we had made the decision to put him in hospice. And you know, unfortunately, whenever I flew to Las Vegas for the Olympia that Tuesday, as soon as I'm getting settled into my hotel, I get a phone call that he had passed. And it was awful. You know, it's a punch to the gut, that's for sure. You know, the last words that he told me were to kick ass, and I felt like I did that at the Olympia. But it's hard when you get dished that kind of news, and you're kind of prepping for the biggest show of my entire life, something that I want more than anything. It's a huge goal of mine, a dream, and you have somebody that you love tremendously, and you can't be there for them. It was very, very tough for me. I had a lot of people step up and take responsibility for things that I should have been responsible for, so I'm super, super fortunate in that regard. You know, life is hard, and I think a lot of times we kind of like to drown in our own sorrows, and I'm not somebody that throws like a pity party for myself. I think everybody has their own situations that are going on, and that was a tough pill for me to swallow at the time, and it still is. You know, I'm still dealing with a lot of his circumstances, just kind of getting things in order, and that's something that's very, very overwhelming for me because I don't really understand what I'm doing. This is all very new territory. But everybody's going through things, so I think it's very important to kind of keep that in mind and, you know, remember what's your why. So when times get tough, you just have to kind of put your head down, dig deep, and do what you can to get through it at that given time. And I've spoken about this before, but your 100% effort might vary from day to day. So, and that's okay, just as long as you're giving your 100% every day. One day might be better than others, but you just got to kind of keep going, and that's what I did. I had a great support system, like I said. There were so many people that stepped up and did things for me to ensure that I was still at my best. It was a tough prep in that regard. I lost my dog. I didn't lose my dog, actually. My best friend, he lost my dog. But he was found, and that was another thing that leading up to the Olympia, at a week out, I get this phone call that my dog is lost, and you just have to understand that this dog is like a special needs dog. So I was very, very negative, and I thought that there was no way he would be found. And I can assure you that if he wasn't found, I probably would have packed my bags and flew home to Arkansas because I would have been completely devastated. But again, when I go back to the support system that I had, there's tons of people that stepped up. They went to bat and they made sure that they found him and they got him home safely, and I am so fortunate in that regard. So things happened in this prep. Some really, really tough things happened, but I'm fortunate to have made it through it. And here's the thing, I have an army of support. I told you guys that before, and I'm gonna kind of go back on that. Matt Berzicott, my coach, has just been unreal. I can't say enough great things about him. He was by my side the entire time at the Olympia. He was looking me over, hourly, making sure everything was where it needed to be. He was feeding me accordingly, and it was just completely unreal. I owe him so much, and I'm forever grateful for him. I can never, ever, ever give him enough praise. And it's amazing that we have this great game plan going into this year's Olympia. I couldn't be more excited. I'll kind of go into my prep leading into the Olympia just a little bit. So we really basically had to starve and suffer. There was times where I was doing 2 hours and 20 minutes of cardio a day and basically was on like a fish and lettuce diet. And I think a lot of times people will really kind of criticize coaches for doing that, or criticize people for having to go to that drastic of a measure to come in the shape that they need to. But you have to keep in mind, I wasn't eating fish and lettuce since day one for all 20 weeks. And I wasn't doing 2 hours and 20 minutes of cardio for that full 20 weeks. We really had to kind of deplete myself down in order to fill myself back up. Wednesday, prior to the Olympia, we started really loading me, and I had never ate that much food ever. So I felt like Matt did a phenomenal job of making sure that I was coming in nice and full, super, super full for the Olympia. I actually came in even better at finals, which typically is not the case. I usually will come in a little bit worse for finals, but you know, we pulled it off. I think there's tons of room for improvement, but we're going to improve. I think that Matt's definitely stuck with me. I'm stuck with him, and he's stuck with me. So we're gonna definitely bring a phenomenal package this season, and I think that, you know, I'm gonna go for the title. I really, really wanna win. That's been a dream of mine forever, and I think that it's within grasp, and I wholeheartedly believe that, and I have all the right people in my corner. So very fortunate. All praise to Matt Berzicott. He's amazing. Obviously, everybody at 365 Fitness, they are just unreal. Ryan and Anthony have been in my corner since day one. They believed in me whenever I was nothing. All my friends and family, they're phenomenal. You know, you gotta say something about people that give up their hopes, their dreams, and their goals for me. And I have a lot of people that have done that to ensure that I'm where I need to be. I have a lot of people cheering me on, and I'm very, very fortunate. Jacob and Kyle, they have been amazing. They are the men behind the camera. we're gonna continue this journey. So make sure you kind of let us know what you want to see. Off-season training, things of that sort, grocery shopping, I don't know. Whatever you guys want to see, let us know. They're gonna make it look really, really great on camera. They are the best. So if you are in Central Arkansas, make sure you reach out to them. Elevated Creative Media. Phenomenal. I can't wait to see all the content that we get this year. Let's see, I know I'm missing people. So I just want to give praise to everybody. Obviously, all you guys that are supporting me have been just unreal. The praise that I got at the Olympia was, it was awesome, and I'm very, very fortunate and grateful for that. Let's see, I'll talk a little about my off season right now. So Matt, immediately, like I said, as soon as I got done, we made a game plan for this year. I am eating the most that I've ever ate in my entire life, and it feels good, but it's a little uncomfortable, which that kind of goes with the territory as well. Whenever you're dieting down, you're gonna get to an uncomfortable state, and whenever you're trying to put on size in all the right areas, you're probably gonna get into an uncomfortable state too. So his goal is to have me hit like 160. I've never hit 160 before, 160 pounds. So I'm a little thing, I'm petite, I'm 5'2", so I typically will get up to about 100. Last year I got up to 152 pounds. That was my max weight. So we're gonna try to get up to 160. I weighed 131 at the Olympia, for anybody that's gonna ask that question, because I know somebody will. Anyways, like I said, our plan is to come in even better from behind, just work on everything and come in a little bit better. I was disappointed in myself because my finals routine, I did mess up. You guys probably wouldn't know that, but I did mess it up, so it was really a lot better than what it was. I will make sure I fix that going into this year's Olympia. And again, same concept, I always have the same goal to come in better in every regard. So hair, suit, makeup, tan, posing routine, all of that, stage, presentation, the works. Olympia will be in November this year in Orlando, Florida. So be on the lookout for that. If you can make it, great. If not, make sure you stream it and make sure you're watching along this journey. So I think 2023 will be my year. I think it's gonna be the best Brooke Walker you guys have ever seen. My head's in the right space. I'm so excited about this off season, and you know what? The best is yet to come. I went into the 2021 season working with John Meadows, and whenever I had reached out to John, it was more or less, I was ready to hang up my suit. This is it, I'm gonna retire after this, I'm only getting older, and I have other dreams and goals aside from bodybuilding. I do want to raise a family at some point, and the older I get, the harder that's gonna kind of be, or the higher at risk I will be for certain things. So whenever I reached out to John, I basically informed him of that and said that, this is gonna be my last run. If I don't make it to the Olympia, I will retire. And John was very receptive to that and seemed to understand exactly where I was coming from. And he was determined to get me to the Olympia. He believed that I had a physique that was worth being on that stage, and I believe that as well, but I always have had issues just getting there. So I've always finished in second place for my entire career, it seems like, even before I made it to the pro circuit. I went countless times going for my pro card and always missed it by one placement. Second place is like, whatever. It's like the Brooke Walker award. But anyway, so 2021 was awesome, and John pushed me to be my absolute best. I dieted the whole year, it seems like, and it was rough. I finally qualified in August of 2021. I got my golden ticket to the Olympia, and John was just so ecstatic. I was so ecstatic. I was proud to have somebody like John Meadows in my corner. And to have a sense of having that man be proud of you is, oh my gosh, just an accomplishment in itself, because he is just a legend in the bodybuilding community, and I think he will always be a legend within that community. So I qualify, I'm speaking to John, he's kind of telling me what I need to do that night, have a few free meals. We're gonna start my Olympia prep on Monday, and the next day I get the most devastating news. John has passed, and it was terrible. It was very, very hard for me in just so many different regards, because you have this amazing person that has passed, and he is a father and a husband, and he is leaving behind two incredible sons and a wife that just loves him so much, and then an entire community of people that are just utterly devastated. So there's that regard, and there was a part of me that felt very, very selfish because I was kind of in panic mode. What do I do going forward? I'm prepping for the biggest stage of my entire life, and I have to have somebody there to help guide me on what to do, So it was tough. It was very, very challenging for me, devastating. Again, going at that point, it was like 8 weeks out from the Olympia, so, there's not much muscle I can build in that time frame. So if you guys have been following along, that I kind of just focused on conditioning at that point. After that, I had reached out, to Matt, and Matt took me on, and, our very first initial phone call was something that's huge to me. Is I don't want a douchebag coach, and I don't want somebody that's arrogant. I just don't mesh well with that. I'm a very happy person, and I don't like the just harsh, you just listen to what I say and just follow the plan and don't ask questions. I am gonna ask questions. And I think that as a coach, you should be open to your competitors or your clients or just your overall health and general wellness, whatever your goals are. You should be open to your clients asking you questions, because as a coach or a trainer, it is your duty to educate them and help them along the way. There's a big world and a huge life outside of bodybuilding, and there's things that have lifelong things that I will take on for the remainder of my life from coaches that have taught me things in the past. I've always been coached. I've played sports my entire life. And I don't know if some of my coaches even realize the magnitude or the impact that they've had on my life. Here I am, 33 years old, and they still have taught me so many different things that I still to this day take with me. So explaining that to Matt, he was super receptive to it, and just talking to him on the phone, I just knew there was an immediate connection there, and he's been great. He had big shoes to fill. John Meadows knows what he's doing. He's very, very intelligent. Like I said, he's a legend, an absolute icon within this community. But Matt took it, and I, again, am so fortunate, so excited to be able to work with him. John is irreplaceable. I will always say that John was my coach, is my coach, and Matt has taken on the reins of that, and he's done an incredible job. And I think that at some point, Matt will be one of the top level coaches within this community industry. So very, very excited. I love you, John, and there's not one single day that goes by that I don't think about you. Going into the Olympia this year, I trained in Florida for the last 6 weeks, and there's countless times that I would listen to some John Meadows motivational videos on YouTube just to kind of get me through those 2 grueling hours and 20 minutes of cardio. But John's amazing, Matt's amazing. There's so many different people that I'm so fortunate to have in my corner. And I plan to go back to Florida this year, 6 weeks prior to the Olympia, and train my heart out and be a full-time bodybuilder for 6 weeks, which that is great. It's hard. I train at a gym, I work at a gym, and it's tough to do that because I get interrupted all the time, every single day. But it is what it is. I love what I do, and I plan to go travel to Matt and vice versa to ensure that everything's on point and in a sense of training, diet. Matt taught me some really great things leading up to the Olympia, and some things from a training standpoint that I was doing wrong, and he fixed those things. So I'm very, very excited to see what I will look like with proper training and efficient training, and just small tweaks. It makes a big difference when you're on a big stage with the best in the world. Everybody looks incredible, so sometimes those things that you fine tune will make the biggest difference at the end of the day. So be on the lookout for a new and improved, I'm gonna say 3.0 Brooke Walker.